So this is your face. Fight or flight. That's a terrible drawing, but that's your face, right? I'm excited today. We're hearing it all over the internet and people are still super confused. So we're going to go through this today. I'm really excited to share a little bit more about what cortisol is and how your body utilizes it. So cortisol is your body's main stress hormone, right? Which means it helps your body maintain stress, continue with energy, know when to wake up, know when to go to bed. It's very important and it's very needed. The way that it works is when you wake up in the morning, your cortisol is as high as it's going to be. From there, it bottoms out when it's time for bed, right? I'm going to spare you the drawing of you going to bed because it's not a great drawing. And so this is really important to understand because a lot of people are talking about super high cortisol, right? And that is when your body doesn't know how to downregulate from stress. And there's a couple patterns that I tend to see. But if you're waking up and your cortisol is, I would say anywhere from a 14 plus, this is something that we can work on, right? Because we need it to be less than that for us to actually have the right amount to go throughout the day. And this changes throughout your life, but it's really important. I'll tell you why in a couple minutes here. When your body is at a 14 plus, your body is stuck in that like fight or flight mode, right? So this is your face. Fight or flight. That's a terrible drawing, but that's your face, right? This is your fight or flight mode. Well, that's what these are there. And so the reason why this is important to understand is if you're at a 14 plus and you're constantly at a 14 plus, it can actually cause things like jitteriness, feeling like you can't fall asleep, feeling like you're having a caffeine crash all the time, caffeine not doing anything for you, not helping those receptors, adrenal fatigue, exhaustion, right? All of these things are linked to high cortisol. Now, here's something that a lot of people aren't talking about. Low cortisol is just as detrimental as high cortisol. Now, what is that? That means you are waking up with a very low number, right? So you're getting up and your cortisol's here. And that means throughout the day, you don't have much time before bed, right? So we get that super big crash around 2 or 3 p.m. We're feeling tired all the time. We're feeling exhausted. Maybe we're more stressed. We're more likely to snap, right? But this is really important to understand because if you have low cortisol, I would say anything under a 10, you are dealing with this type of pattern, right? And when this happens, your body can do a couple different things. So I'm going to show you high cortisol patterns and low cortisol patterns, right? And so high cortisol patterns is you're in the go-go. Okay, right. So you're stuck in go-go all the time, right? You may feel wired and anxious, right? Should have been a doctor. Should have finished medical school with this handwriting, right? Your belly fat is not going to go anywhere. It doesn't matter how many calories you eat. You are having a hard time sleeping. You're having a hard time relaxing. You're overthinking. Your brain is going off and off. And so low cortisol, right? Remember, this is under a 10, right? Somewhere around there. Everybody's a little bit different, right? But I'm going to say under a 10. You're feeling burnt out, exhausted all the time. Coffee doesn't do anything. You're feeling weak. You'll notice your workouts will start to suffer. You'll start to just have difficulty, feel like you need naps, those afternoon crashes. And so it's really important to understand the difference here between the high cortisol and the low cortisol and why your body will do these patterns, right? And this is basically just going out of poor hygiene, right? You're not taking care of yourself the way that you need to. You're staying up late and looking at your screens. You're not waking up early in the morning and good to go. Or maybe your work is keeping you as a vampire shift, or maybe you're traveling a lot for work right now. You're on airplanes. You're going through different time zones. This is all going to start to affect your cortisol and affect how your body starts to break these down. And the worst part about all of this is if your cortisol specifically downregulated, if it's low, it's going to downregulate things like testosterone, estradiol, progesterone, more and more. So your hormones are going to be greatly affected by this. If it's high, it can also suppress these same things. So now your cortisol is affecting your testosterone, your estrogen, progesterone. You're feeling like exhausted. You're feeling terrible. You're feeling tired all the time. and you don't understand why. So you get a blood test done, right? And it can also affect glucose, right? So let's say your fasted glucose is high, right? And let's say your testosterone is low and your doctor is willing to test that and sees that is a symptom to the problem. The problem is you do not have a system set up for your life to help you function like a normal human being. We are so crazy busy nowadays. That is totally okay. That is normal. That happens. And so the problem becomes, we're going to guess what this is. That's terrible. That is a Band-Aid. I'm going to write that. So the problem becomes if we start to put a Band-Aid on a broken leg, right? And what does that mean? It means we're putting a Band-Aid on an issue that doesn't, I don't know how to fix that from looking not like boo. We're putting a Band-Aid on an issue that is not going to fix it. Going on TRT, going on and taking metformin. This is what your doctor is going to go to first before we start to actually fix the lifestyle. So if you can fix the lifestyle, you become happier, you get stronger, you feel better. But if you take meds, it's going to continue at a downward trajectory, right? We're not going to fix the root cause, and we're going to continue to go in a negative progression to put that Band-Aid on a broken leg. The disclaimer here is if you need medication, take medication. I'm not telling you not to. But what I am telling you is to have all the facts and to really be honest with yourself. Are you doing what you need to do to take care of you, or are you trying to find the quick fix? Because I promise you, once you can get your cortisol reset and your hormones reset and you start to feel like yourself again, you're going to notice that you're going to feel a lot better and it's going to be a lot easier to maintain. So if you're curious about cortisol and how it's affecting you and what that could look like, go ahead and comment cortisol below and I'll send you over a free ebook. On top of that, if you are curious about getting a cortisol test, there are a couple different ones between the morning AM test, which is the gold standard. There's a Dutch test, which also takes into consideration your hormones. There's a lot of different options out there. And so it's really important for you to have a full story as to what's going on with your life before you start to throw things up.